We begin with breaking news. A grass fire that prompted homes, businesses, and a high school in Thornton to evacuate is now contained. Thornton fire and police officials are holding a news conference right now at City Hall. Let's listen in.
Approximately Alati Street, with a total fire spread of approximately 10 acres. Like I said earlier, this was a significant fire which resulted in a very large regional response. We had resources from the City of Thornton Fire Department, Westminster, Adams County, North Metro, Federal Heights, South Adams, and other resources that came in to support stations that have been utilized to respond to the fire. Law enforcement went door to door in the neighborhood to the north to evacuate residents. We closed multiple roads in the area. We evacuated Pinnacle High School to the west, and due to smoke conditions, for a period of time we closed Interstate 25. At this time, the fire is contained, and crews are continuing to work hotspots to ensure that we have the fire completely out. The fire department will have crews out on scene overnight tonight to ensure that we don't have any rekindles or any change in conditions. We established a temporary shelter at Margaret Carpenter Recreation Center, which is where residents that were evacuated were directed to go. We anticipate that there will be continued road closures in the area as we continue to perform fire suppression and containment operations. The outcome of this fire, as challenging as it was, I would like to highlight, we lost no residential structures as a result of this fire. There was no fire spread to the north into the residential neighborhood between Huron and I-25 to the north of 84th Avenue. We did have damage to some businesses along the south side of the fire. We are continuing to evaluate those businesses for damage. At this time, it does not appear that there was any damage to the structures. The cause of the fire is under investigation. We also have 5 reported injuries from this fire, 4 to fire personnel, and 1 to a citizen. Again, to the community, I appreciate very much the rapid response from our residents to evacuate the neighborhood so our crews could get in the area and perform fire suppression operations. This was a dynamic, rapidly spreading event that challenged many of the departments in the north area. I appreciate the support we got from our neighboring agencies and from the metro area as well. And as a reminder, these are conditions that we continue to face on a daily basis here in the Front Range that results in this kind of fire spread. With that, I'm happy to take any questions.
How serious were the injuries?
At this time, they're under evaluation. They're not critical injuries.
Can you speak to what you did to protect that neighborhood to the north?
We put numerous apparatus on the road there is Leo Lane. We put numerous apparatus on that roadway and performed suppression operations from those residents. We had fire spread up to the fence line, but did not move into those residential properties.
Did it start in like a playground next to the high school?
The cause of the fire is currently under investigation, but the area where it started was at the area of 84th and Huron to the north of the Pinnacle School there.
Chief, was there any sort of like code red alerts put out or 911 call, reverse 911 call? Because we're hearing from residents that didn't get it.
Yep. So we utilize the iPause alert system through the state. We did not do any other alerting. Currently the City of Thornton is in the transition between Code Red and a new system called RAVE through Motorola.
So because you're between these two systems, no calls went out?
Through that system, there was not. We did door-to-door notification via law enforcement personnel.
Why are evacuations still in place? Is it safe for people to go back to their homes if they so choose?
We're currently evaluating that to make sure it is safe for them to return, and we should be releasing that information shortly.
Do you have a ballpark of about how many law enforcement, fire personnel responded to this? I mean, it was really major.
Yep, there were 47 total apparatus responses from the north area. I don't have an estimate on law enforcement personnel, but it was a law enforcement response that involved both Thornton Police, Westminster, Adams County, North Glen, Federal Heights, Colorado State Patrol. There were numerous supporting agencies on scene.
Were there any vehicles that were burned?
Behind this, the businesses to the north, there were a number of vehicles that were involved. Again, we're still assessing that area.
Would you say there's something that people watching could take away from what happened today?
Certainly. So one of the key components that limited fire spread into that neighborhood was both the fire response from our personnel, in addition to the work of our Parks and Recreation team to maintain that green belt and not allow vegetation to accumulate next to the fence line, and the care that residents have done to make sure that their property is secured from vegetation. That is one of the key contributing factors to vegetation fire spread.
One thing that at least I noticed while standing out there is that there were a lot of people just walking around, whether it be to the school or to nearby businesses, just trying to see what's going on. I assume you would say, don't do that, at least for the time being?
It is, when we have an evolving incident, what we are asking everyone to do involved is to stay away from the area so we can get fire response personnel into the scene to manage the incident. Anytime we get residents in the area or bystanders in the area, it inhibits our ability to operate. So absolutely, that is what we would like to see.
Is school expected to be in session tomorrow?
It is our understanding that school will be in session tomorrow. Police are working on the
Some good news from Fire Chief there about what's happening in Thornton, 100% containment. Not a lot of details about how this fire started. Essentially, it was near really close to some residential areas, but everybody evacuated. A couple of injuries that the Fire Chief mentioned. Luckily, nobody was hurt in any serious way. So again, putting out some hot spots and getting this thing under control. Could have been a lot worse, but some good news.
All right, turning now to 9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles. She went to the neighborhood being evacuated because of this fire. Jenny, what did you learn speaking with the people in the area? And I can see that it's still quite windy there, looking at your hair.
What gave it away, Sam, right? No, very windy out here this afternoon, coming and going in different bursts, if you will, but certainly the winds have not completely died down at this point. So this neighborhood, this is about northeast of where the fire is. Directly in front of me is I-25 that we know is shut down for a little bit. Behind me is this neighborhood, and a lot of these people tell me that police officers were going door to door, knocking today, asking them to pack up and be ready to leave or to go ahead and leave their homes. At this hour today, you'll see kids walking on bikes. It's a little bit of a more casual situation right now. There's a trail I'm standing along, people coming up right now, people are kind of out and about. I don't believe that from that presser we learned that the formal evacuations have been lifted at this point, but it's a little more casual now as we know that that fire's been contained. But they're asking people to stay away from where they're working, right? It's still not safe, and a lot of the road closures are still in place. Let me show you some video from inside the neighborhood this afternoon as things started to calm down a little bit and people were back in their homes. Several folks told us that they packed their car but never formally left because they just kind of wanted to wait it out. But people talk about seeing this really thick black smoke outside their yard, outside kind of sweeping across the properties over by the interstate. Fire hoses, right, running up and down the street where crews were plugged in trying to fight the fire, and a smell, just kind of a present smell of wildfire smoke. The folks who didn't leave say it was very eerie, and they were ready to go. They had the dogs in the car, they had all their documents and their medications ready to go, and others have left but haven't been able to get back in this afternoon. Everyone was kind of on edge, right? You know that feeling anytime we've seen wildfires, especially ones that are pressing into areas with homes. You heard the officials talk about no actual structures were threatened, but there's really no fire that can come anywhere safe close to a home. So you just kind of got a sense of general unease around the neighborhood, but slowly people starting to come back in, mull around this afternoon, ask a lot of questions. But it's kind of a quiet at this point in the neighborhood. Guys, back to you.
Well, Jenny, quiet is good. Jennifer Meckles, thank you.
Yeah.